Good afternoon, I'm Jeff. I'm a Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 353 Northeast 72nd Avenue here in Portland. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Currently the camera is sitting in 4-inch cast iron. Here we go. And we'll take a look at a couple of those joints there on the way out when the pipe's all drained out. Looks like some settling has occurred there. When the line's all drained out, we'll have a better look at how much, whether or not it's opened possibly to the ground or not. And then it transitions here over to 6-inch terracotta clay pipe, about 24 feet out. And that section there, this almost looks like a And here at 64 feet, we have reached the main lateral. I'm going to do locates just to verify where the line terminates, and then we'll let the pipe drain out completely. Alright, located the camera head successfully at the main lateral out on Northeast 72nd. We're going to go ahead and start rolling the camera back. This is an all-original line. There's a couple joints in the terracotta like this. This is a city responsibility here. Once you hit the curb, everything from curb to curb is the city's responsibility. But this clay pipe here is in surprisingly good shape for its age. It's looking pretty darn good. There's a couple different joints here in the line I want to take a look at that are closer in. Yeah, there is a section of cast iron they put into here, I think, to create a clean out. And it looks like just some settling has occurred there. That's what created that little bit of standing water here. I'm going to locate this just to find out where it's at. See, this is the exterior clean out. Now, this is up front here. I'm having a really hard time locating accurately, though. There's so many overhead power lines that throw my locate off. But looks like we're just off to the right side of the driveway. There is a cast iron cleanout out there that appears to be for the storm drain system. Now, before I leave, I'll get that open, but I'm picking the signal up away from that. So. Alright, that clay pipe is in incredibly good shape for its age. Now just keep in mind, this pipe is original to the home. It's old. At least that clay section there is still doing its job and working very nicely. It's very clean. There's only a couple joints that are slightly separated, and those are in the street area. So anyway, the reason I mentioned its age is at some point this pipe will wear out. And that's at this point still maybe 15 years down the road, maybe 20, something like that. We have a joint here. It looks like it's showing a little separation. Anyway, the reason I mentioned the age that it's still functioning is that you can do a pipe liner on this type of line rather than have to dig it up at that point, which is, again, a ways down the road, but I just keep that in mind. That's kind of a nice option to have there. I'll get this joint located here. It looks like it's done some separation. It's really hard to tell how much, because we do have some gunk that's kind of built up in the joints there. I'm not seeing any gaping holes opened up to the ground. I'm going to locate this just to see where it's at here. It is within the home. It's on the basement floor, kind of in the, I don't know if it's the front bedroom or living room area there, but if you're standing in the street looking at the front of the house, it's in the front left corner of the basement. At this time, I'm not going to recommend a repair here. I think that the line has settled, obviously, to a certain extent. Again, I don't see any gaping, wide open joints there. You can have joints that will shift, but still remain closed off to the ground. And because we don't have a significant lip there, it's not catching debris as it comes down the line. Now this spot here, I think a similar situation has happened. It's really hard to get a good look at. What will happen over time is scale builds up inside these cast iron pipes. And so it looks like the pipe wall sometimes can be the scale buildup. But I think we have a similar situation here where this section of pipe looks like it may have settled to a certain extent. It's just really hard to get a good look at what's the pipe and what is scale buildup. Right to the left of the camera right now, there's kind of a little lump of what looks like maybe buildup. I can tell this line's got some wear on it. It's kind of a hard call to make here, because it's a section of pipe that I do worry about over time holding up, because it has shown some movement here. We'll see what the rest of this pipe looks like real quick. With two joints like that back to back, we may end up recommending a repair there. Now what I can't tell right now, just with the angle that we have, is whether those joints are actually completely separated and open to the ground. I'm seeing enough separation here between these two spots. That looks like that one section of pipe from, it stops here at about 14 feet and starts here at about 12 feet. It's a very short section of pipe. I do recommend it be replaced at this point. It looks like it's done enough movement here. I'm nervous that it could be. This joint right here is making me a little bit more nervous. Off to the right side of the screen there, I'm seeing more of a void in the joint. Either way, though, we just don't get a great look back inside there. But that's done enough movement that I'm nervous that if it hasn't opened up to the ground, it may, in some time soon to come. So I'm going to recommend a repair here. I'll put some blue painter's tape down on the ground. Again, it's at the front left corner of the basement. And it's just a 2-foot section of pipe here. And this is one that if you have any plans to do updates, you could consider doing some type of credit. Because at this point, as far as functionality goes, we can tell that everything, debris-wise is getting past this point. When you flush there's water escaping here, that's a lot harder to test for. We got a little bit pooling, but other than that, we really can't watch any water flow in and out of those joints, anything of that nature. So anyway, I do recommend it be repaired, and I'll get that marked with blue painter's tape here in the basement. Alright, we got this mapped out here again with blue painter's tape. There's a white X at each end of the spot repair, and just a piece kind of showing the direction the pipe's running. And right here I'm getting about 1'5", 1'6" deep at the start of this, right over here. Closer to about 1 foot 1 inch, 1 foot 2 inches. Either way, it's right around 1.5 feet deep, pretty shallow to get to. I do recommend that be corrected there. It looks like the joints have separated. Again, it's really hard to tell if those have opened to the ground or not. They've obviously done some shifting here. I'd say this joint right here is roughly about a 1/2 inch pulled apart. This one down here is not quite as much. It looks like the bottom has done some separating, but not the top. That's a little bit harder one to tell there. What concerns me, though, is at this point, and just its age, is that that's going to continue to wear and could wear right through and allow water to seep out into the ground. I was mentioning earlier, you could make this a credit-worthy repair. I don't know if anyone has plans to do any updating in the basement. But this would be one of those spots that if you have plans to do that, I would say wait until you do it and do a large section of it. This cast iron, like any other pipe, does have a lifespan. Much of it still has plenty of life left on it, but if you're already down there doing any work, that would be the time to do it. But I do recommend a spot repair to correct that. More than anything for, at this point, longevity purposes, as we cannot tell if those have fully opened to the ground yet or not. Aside from that, though, the rest of the line is in good condition, or fair to good condition. It is old, but still has good flow all the way to the main lateral and is functioning properly at this time. As far as getting debris from point A to point B, those two joints there, I really don't have a way of telling you if water is actually seeping out of those or not. They're just not, if you get a big gaping hole in the pipe, it's very easy to see that, but those are closed off enough that if they are letting water escape, I would imagine it's not a ton, but over time, that can be significant. I recommend a spot repair, or I'm sorry, a rescope after the repair is done to ensure it was done correctly.